Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskar. Friends, in the last episode of the Garden of Yoga Vasishta, we found that Rishi Valmiki is very happy to receive King Arishtanemi, who is a very eligible student. And we find that not only the student, but the teacher, the guru, also eagerly looks forward for disciples that are eligible, earnest and sincere, because knowledge is there which they are waiting to share with a proper recipient. Valmiki starts by telling Arishtanemi that the teaching he is about to impart is not sought by everyone, that only some people are eligible for it. A person who feels, I'm bound, I seek liberation, is eligible. Aham baddho vimuktasyam. Now, what is this bondage that a person is wanting to be liberated from? That refers to anything that gives rise to suffering, be it physical, mental, psychological. In our day-to-day lives, we are moved by a natural desire for liberation from anything that constricts. We don't want to be bound down by gravity, so we want to fly. We don't want to be drowned in water, we want to float on water. We wish to break out of any limitation of any confined space. But there's another bondage. The bondage created by our own vasanas, that is, desires and longings that will not cease till they are fulfilled. They keep us yoked to a continuous struggle for fulfillment, causing a continuous tension and strain. So our own thoughts and emotions are like a noose, a snare that ties us down to things that are not even physically present before us. Thoughts of an imagined past make us depressed. Those of imagined future makes us feel uncertain or anxious. And this rigmarole of thoughts prevents us from experiencing the depths of our being, the depths of possibilities that reside within us. As Swami Venkateshananda said, we function within a small dimension of our capacities. We value the earthbound capabilities which we can touch, feel, sense through our physical and mental organs. And as a result, we look for freedom in the wrong places. Political freedom, a worthy cause, but not enough. Freedom from social bindings or social structures, from gravity, from time, again, not enough. Freedom from the limitations of our sense organs, our limited possibilities of hearing, of seeing, not enough. For it does not satiate us at a deeper subconscious level, a level that seeks unlimitedness. It's not that we don't experience unboundedness, we do, but it is fleeting. In the midst of a vast desert, or experiencing an unbounded sky, or the spread of an ocean, we feel a pleasing expansion in the mind. For the mind just reaches out and stretches itself and takes the form of whatever we experience through our sense organs. But it soon comes back to the humdrum of the day-to-day. We experience a sense of unboundedness in sleep also, but we remain unaware of it. So how to maintain this unboundedness, this pleasing sense of unlimitedness? This is where the role of eligibility and of teaching comes in. Perhaps it was Socrates who said that an unexamined life is not worth living. The Rishi also considered an examination of life to be one of the criteria of a ripe student. He says that one who goes through life without questioning or observing it will not ask the kind of questions posed by Sutikshana or by Arishtanemi. The teaching would be wasted on such a one. So this teaching is not for those who do not question. On the other hand, one who already knows the truth does not need the teaching, for such a one is already enlightened. So, who is this text meant for? It is for another category of persons, those who question the status quo, the binding limitation of life, but have not yet found a way out of it. Such persons are neither ignorant, for an ignorant person does not ask questions, nor are they enlightened, as they do not know the path to follow. So there arises a sense of helplessness, a recognition that I'm unable to attain something that I seek deep down, and I'm not even actually quite aware of what I actually seek. And since a major source of bondage is our own mental conditioning and thoughts, we first have to examine ourselves and find out what it is that obstructs. Where does bondage reside? Rishi Valmiki tells Arishtanemi that the world is not as it appears to us. He gives simple examples such as the sky, which appears like a blue dome, but actually is without color or form. He tells him that what appears is not real, and the real does not appear. It is in this enigmatic framework that we aim to fulfill our desires. And unknowingly, we interact with the world as it appears and not with the fact that is. We function and transact in an unreal world, in an imagined or a perceived world. The Rishi tells him that in this world, two kinds of desires manifest in the human mind. One is the lower or negative or impure desire, which pulls a person downwards towards greater bondage. The other is an auspicious, expansive desire called Shubhecha. That is the desire that Swami Venkateshananda emphasized time and again, which leads a person higher up to a higher evolved state, to an inner transformation. Now, what is this inner transformation? The Rishi tells us that the individual personality is made up of a bundle of subtle impressions of vasanas that are embedded in our subconscious. Everything and every action that we encounter leaves a subtle microscopic impression of vasana on the mind that remains embedded in our subconscious. These vasanas may be a carryover from previous births or from our actions in the current birth, but they form our personalities. And unbeknown to ourselves, these impressions embedded in the subconscious impact the actions we perform through our conscious minds. So it's the subconscious that keeps on impacting our conscious actions and our conscious dealings in the day-to-day life. Many a time we find ourselves saying or doing something which we did not really intend to do at all. And later we find ourselves saying, even regretting, this is not what or how I wanted to say, or this is not what I meant to do. How did it happen? And yet it happens because some subtle tendency embedded deep down surfaces at some time without our permission. This is bondage. It is like little whirlpools that emerge on the surface of a water body from deep down where they remain embedded for millennia. We do not even know when and what may trigger their sudden emergence. We know of a lake, beautiful lake called Manasarovar on the plateau of Tibet at an altitude of some 15,000 feet above sea level. And in that fresh water, many a time, there are thrown up some articles, submarine articles like pebbles and fish bones, which have been embedded there since millennia, since a time when the lake was actually a sea called the Tethyan Sea. And those become then artifacts that people like to bring back from the Manasarovar. And sometimes a tsunami uncovers structures that may have remained submerged or for thousands of years. Vasanas or subtle impressions are also like that. They seem to manifest suddenly because we do not know how to make contact with our deepest levels. Swami Brahmanandaji of the Shivananda Ashram used to say that as against the multitude of things of the world, our mind is simple. Yet it is hard to know because it is the mind trying to know the mind. Before going on to the Rishi's teachings, we try to look at the mindsets of the questioners that we have met. All three are evolved souls. They've made deep reflections on the human condition. All have gained a high level of Viveka, the faculty that discriminates between the subtlest of tendencies. And they've all done a great deal of vichara, reflection on what they have observed. But they have not realized their true capacities as they remain restricted by their thoughts and emotions. So they have tools of knowledge. They have Viveka, translated as discrimination, a faculty that can separate two things, such as discerning the truth and untruth, good, bad, moral, immoral, happiness, unhappiness. But here, discrimination stands for something more subtle, a discrimination between the evanescent and the real. And more than that, it stands for seeing the real in its directness and staying with it. Like experiencing the sky in its abstract formlessness, this can only be done by a mind that can pierce through its conditionings and presuppositions. So sincere inquiry may lead us to a teacher and surrender to her or him. And after having learnt from the teacher or book, we undertake to tread the path, making it our own path. And this cannot be done without reflection or vichara. So this second tool of learning, reflection or vichara, leads to knowledge, and knowledge brings peace to the self. The shloka here says, it's good to read the shloka as we discussed. Vichara jnayate tattvam tattvat vishrantiratmani ato manasi shantatvam sarva dukkha parikshaya. So please share your understanding of the text in the comment section. Hari Om.